All right. Good morning, everyone. We're so excited that you are here. To get us started,
Good morning.
we have a check-in link to a Wakelet. If you would go ahead and click on that link, when you click on it, it's going to ask you to type your name. Go ahead and type your name and then join that space. And then we would love to know who's in this space. So we're asking you to tell who's in this space, what's filling your bucket, and what's draining your bucket. And then I'm going to hand it over to Ileana because I know she has to do a couple of things. Ileana, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, the mute button. Yeah, you guys could go ahead and get started and then I'll start.
The link isn't working. Can you try again? That's weird. Did you?
Can you try again? Because it went straight.
Yeah. Sorry about that, everyone.
Ileana, did you want us to just go ahead and get started? Or
yeah, you can share yours. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. All right, so just to show you quickly how that space works. When you have clicked on the link, then you're gonna go ahead and it'll ask you to type your name. Go ahead and type your name. You're gonna come up in the top right-hand corner and click edit. You see we've got 2 people in there, Stacy and Kayla.
There we go.
And then you're gonna click the green button. You're gonna come on over to the image that looks like a paper with a pencil. And then you can start typing your text and then click done.
And you can even add your Twitter handle, ways we can connect with you too. And I guess we'll just get started and hopefully our other half will show up, or other third.
Or the third, I know. I'm like, yeah. Third.
Third, we're not a half, we're a third. So do you want to introduce you? Oh, well, why don't we flip and I'll present and.
Okay, while they're checking in?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
So, oh, where'd it go? That was weird. Where did my window go? Oh, there it is. Good. So this is the Buncee board. We're going to be talking about creation over consumption today with Buncee. If you could, in the chat or with a thumbs up, let us know how many of you are familiar with Buncee or have ever used it. Let's see. Do a thumbs up. You can put it in the chat. What you know, what you don't know.
We have a lot of never heard of it.
Oh, well then. So what we'll do is we're going to be showing you all the different ways that myself as a library media specialist, and then Leticia as a technology integration specialist, and Amy, who now is Fried Ed Tech, all the different ways over the years that we've been using Buncee. I know Amy is really the OG of the 3 of us, right? Using Buncee. I think she even has an avatar of herself that they made. So what we've done is we've taken all the Buncees that we have made. Well, I take that back. I have over 500. I'm sure Leticia the same as me. We've given you a sample of the different ways you can use Buncee. So in the board, which the link, I'll share that again. You can click on it and follow along. This is my business card, and that's what I love about Buncee. I can create a business card where I can put all of my badges. I wrote a blog. I know I'm missing some. But my name is Deborah Zeman. I'm a library and information technology educator from the DFW area. This is my 22nd year of teaching, and this will be my 6th going into the library. As you can see, I'm a member of everything. There's nothing I don't do. You can reach me on Twitter at Deb Zeman LMS, and that's also my Instagram. And I will pass it on to Leticia.
And so I am Leticia Citizen. I'm an I-4 coach at Hawthorne School in Beverly Hills Unified School District. I just concluded my 21st year as an educator, my 3rd year as a coach. But prior to being in, technology integration I've taught kindergarten for 2 years, 1st grade for 7, and then 5th grade for 9. Also part of what I do as an I-4 coach is I actually do teach digital citizenship to all of our TK5 classes for 45 minutes every 2 weeks, in addition to like coaching and going in and doing other lessons. So Buncee is definitely one of the platforms that I use across the board, not only like with teachers, but also with our students. And I'll kind of show you some ways that I do that. Like Deb, I'm also an ambassador and a trainer for many tech platforms that I think do a phenomenal job of allowing our students to express themselves and be very creative and not just consuming, as well as like listening to teacher and student feedback to enhance their platform.
One of the big things that Buncee has been focusing on, and I'll try to go grab the links, is SEL this year. I've been working on some stuff with them of ways you can take what you're doing in the curriculum and connect it to SEL. Yeah, I like that layout. I might cheat and borrow yours like I borrowed Amy's and change my business card. I like how it's so streamlined. And that's what's really wonderful about Buncee is you can just go in, you can find a template, which will show you the templates, will show you the ideas board. If you create something that you absolutely love, you can submit it to them and then the worlds can use it. I know all 3 of us probably have a bunch of different things. You can search by subject, you can search by position, area. There's so many to choose from. I'll pull Amy's up and I can tell right away it's already been updated. She's a lead learning guide for Fried Ed Technology. Prior to that, she was
like a lead, like a technology integrationist for an entire district. So she actually serviced a lot of schools in Texas.
And she put in her picture, which I'm sure she used remove background. Where do we find the time to serve? It's actually easier than you think. Some of the things are really quick. I know for Buncee, they have within the Microsoft platform programs that you can do training on for Buncee. Plus you can just, the more you use it, the more opportunities you have to become an ambassador. I know off the side note, since we use Wakelet, you can join as a community member and then move up to ambassador and a leader. And again, it's because you're showcasing and sharing everything you use. I mean, there's about 42 different things I want to do. And did I have a chance this summer? No, because I was busy presenting. And we just got a text from Amy, and I believe she'll be jumping on shortly. She was in a presentation. So when she comes in, we'll let her jump in and introduce herself. But we're going to get started. Are you ready, Leticia?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just, we're going to start with simple, and then you'll see how they get a little bit more involved as you go along. I did what's just bookmarks. And you can create a bookmark. There is a template, or you can just configure the size to the 2x6 or 3x7. And what I've done on the TASHAS reading committee for 9th through 12th grade for Texas. And so what I've done is I created different bookmarks about the books that I've read. And it's just kind of like another way to promote, to get kids involved with reading. You can add a QR code to the back or the front, linking a book trailer or an author interview. And what I did was for each of these, I kind of stuck with the theme of the book, and everything you see comes straight from the Buncee platform. You have all the different fonts, there's all different graphics. And the thing that's incredible about Buncee is a lot of this stuff is layers. and you can move them around and change the colors, change the size, change the font. It's all there for you. You can, we'll be showing you this in the actual platform where you can add video, you can add audio to it. So these are just some of the examples. The background here was a template. And then what I did was for each of these, I downloaded them as a PNG and then added them as a graphic into that. So that's just one way of promoting reading to kids in the library.
So earlier I explained to you, like I am a coach. So not only do I use this with students, but I also use it for myself to like promote things that I'm doing, whether it's at school or because we have been virtual, like presenting virtually at all these conferences. So here is a way that I use Buncee to go ahead and like advertise, hey, here's IE Google Camp, go ahead and this is where you can kind of find me. And so like you'll notice that Buncee has animations. So that's one of the options, and we'll show you that, like a brief overview of what's inside of Buncee. But like all the graphics are there. And then you'll notice like I have a picture of myself. So there is an option to upload. There's actually a camera too. There's camera video that you can record right onto your Buncee, and you'll see that later in some, oh, here's Amy. And so just going ahead, what's nice too is that Buncee does allow you to resize things. So you've got like different options of like, is it going to be for like 16:9 ratio, right? Like for a Google slide, or is it going to be for an Instagram post? So then it has like a 1x1 square. There's even suggested, because they have a partnership with Wakelets, like they have suggested sizes for that. You notice that like for the bookmarks, they even have that set up for you. So you do have some options on how you want to set that up, but that's just one way. Yeah, so like for the bookmark that Deb showed, that's actually like students can go in and like resize, and it lets you know. And I always tell my students, and I always remind teachers, do that first. Because when you start bringing things in, and it'll let you know like, oh, you're going to rechange your size, this will mess things up. So like stuff kind of gets jumbled up in there. So try to like decide on the size that you want prior to creating.
Mm-hmm. And just so everybody knows, Buncee is for Procopa SIPA compliant. So you don't have to worry about that. And they also have the newest edition is Classrooms, where you can have your classes imported through, I believe, Google, Microsoft Teams, and then I think Canvas is another one, where you then can assign the assignments to the kids, and we'll show them that. Amy, are you in the room? Can you?
Yeah, she's here. I see her. Ileana, do you mind making Amy a co-host as well?
Yeah, she's a co-host already.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, so your video and everything should be good, and we'll pull you back up. Where are you? There.
You want to introduce yourself, Amy? We kind of did. You're muted.
I just realized that was like the worst angle ever to have my computer. Hi, everybody. My name, sorry for the lateness. I just ended a session here in Vegas with my twin sister. We're presenting at a counseling conference. My name is Amy Stewart, and I am fairly brand new at my new job, which is a lead learning guide at Tri Technology. That's all my contact info. If you need to get in touch with me, all my favorite things are at the top. And I am newly Google certified level 1 and 2, working on a few more after that. And then you can check me out on Twitter at TechAmyS.
There she is. Yay. Okay, so is Appy Hour yours?
That's Amy.
Yep.
All right, so Appy Hour. When I first discovered Buncee, I was still, I was an instructional coach. I was no longer in the classroom. And so I really found ways to use it as a lead or adult learner. And I used it quite frequently to create graphics and to also create presentations. So this is something we did in my room, gosh, my first year as a coach, and I called it Appy Hour. And that is just a time for teachers to come in and explore different apps. And these were apps that were specific to something called book snaps. And they could come in and learn about how they could use different tools to create book snaps, which is really just you taking a picture of a book and snapping it, and then sharing feedback, like sharing your thoughts on it, adding emojis, different things. And so I used Buncee to create my entire presentation as well as the graphic that you just saw. So that was one example, is Happy Hour. And that was inspired by a book called, oh gosh, Leticia, what is it called?
Does it teach like a pirate?
No, something.
Well, there's book snaps. Isn't that Tara Martin?
4 o'clock faculty. Oh,
There
Happy
it is.
Hour.
Yeah.
4 o'clock faculty came from, gave me the idea for Happy Hour.
And again, that's a variation on the book snaps that Tara, I believe it was Tara Martin created. And that's what's so nice about that, to take that and now, okay, I want to do it this way. And that's what Buncee gives you, that freedom.
Definitely.
Okay. This I created both for Mother's Day and for Father's Day. Had the kids create an acrostic poem. It could be for a father figure, a father, and I give the explanation of what it is. And then on the next one, there's the example. So it's all ties. And then F is for, and I make sure that in the directions the kids know, make sure those words are capitalized. And then if you go into the templates, you'll get the blank one, and the kids are able to copy it, and then they can make their own. And again, I just kept it simple with just the text, but they can also add in a video. If they wanted to be really creative, instead of doing the F and here, each line could be a clip of a video, or they could be reading to them, because there's nothing like hearing your kid's voice. So that was just one that I did. Again, I did it for Mother's Day also. It was just a fun thing to do to celebrate dads. I believe this one is Amy. Yep. That's you.
You're muted.
It's like the phrase of the century. So another idea of how I've used Buncee, once again, like I said, I discovered it after I had students, but I used it for graphics to promote sessions I was presenting. So this was a session that my sister and I did in, gosh, was that San Antonio or Dallas? Maybe San Antonio. And we were showing counselors how to use technology in their guidance lessons and counseling groups. And so to promote our session, I created a Buncee. Everything you see there, with the exception of the Bitmojis, I found in Buncee. And so we were able to share this on social media for others to access, and then to also hopefully bring them into our session.
And that's the great thing too. You get your Bitmoji, and then you could use remove BG to take out the background, and then you just put your emoji, Bitmoji right in there. And you'll see, I think I have my example of my virtual library that I did that in too.
There was a question, Yanira.
It's for both, actually.
It's definitely for both, yeah. And I'm going to show you. So this is an example. Once we went virtual, then setting up a virtual open house. And so you can actually click the arrows, Deborah, so that way they can see the different examples. So you can either, as the teacher, set up the template, and then you have a class in a Buncee as well that you can share that template with students, and they can go in and fill in the spaces, or they can start from scratch. So you have different options, but here's one example of setting up a virtual open house where every student, and then there's links too. So you'll see, like if you hover over the picture, the little red circle.
Oh, there it is. Sorry, couldn't see it.
Like it will take you to the student's activity. And so that's also cool about Buncee, is that you can have these links. So this was like to another Buncee that we created as a class. Go back. Can you go back? And then like you'll also notice some of the words are underlined. So that also takes the students to, or the person who's like reading this. So we shared this with parents. And then there's an activity. So for open house, for every page that the student created, they got to demonstrate their work, and then they linked it to an activity for the parents to to complete based off of what that page told them. So this was something that we decided as a class, we created as a class, but every student had their own journal so that way they can upload their own activities. Go back to the main one, Deb. And so you'll see like they have all these pages, but it's linkable. The students can bring in their images. So this is definitely like a good example of students creating their own journal for open house to demonstrate like their, you know, their best projects or best things that they did the entire year. And then parents just going through, reading the information and then completing the task for themselves.
Which you can see here, you know, please enjoy my writing. So it's the kids, and then they can scan, the parent or whomever is looking at it can scan and see what the child created.
And I will say too, like there were some classes at my school that didn't want to use Buncee. So instead I set up a template for them on Google Slides. So it can be done there too. But what was really nice is because like all the text, all the graphics, everything's already built into Buncee. And the students like that better, like that they can just go ahead and grab all that stuff instead of going to search for it. And it's all, you know, compliant that for digital citizenship and everything. So definitely something to check out.
I know when I was first starting to use Buncee, my daughter-in-law is a paraprofessional for a SPED class. And she was watching me create the book Bento, which I had learned from Amy at TCA a long time ago. And so I showed her, and she actually brought it to the classroom. And I think the student was 5 or 6 years old. And now anytime they have iPad time, that is the place that the student goes to, because it's what Buncee calls noodling about, where you can just sit there and play and add things. There doesn't have to be a structured use for it in the classroom. It could be free design time. And I think this is like the perfect tool for kids to use in the classroom.
Here's another example of me taking like Buncee and using it for HyperDocs. So again, I set up the template for students, share that out with them on Buncee. I can include all the links where I want them to go. They'll come back to Buncee to then go through the pages, and it walks them step by step. So they're going to tell me the themes that they found from reading that article. And then on the next page, they're going to, again, there's a link that tells them to either get some primary sources from the Library of Congress or from the biography a website. They're going to bring in those primary sources. And then on the last page, this is where they're going to do their write-up. Go ahead and go to the last page, Deb.
I was just reading what Cindy wrote. Oh. Yes, you can. What they'll do is you, in the classroom part, you can assign this, and then the kids will make a copy for themselves. They'll have the template, and then they can add anything and everything they want. Audio, video, pictures, and then all the different interactive Buncee animation, Buncee stickers. There's also 360 images that kids can add to it also. And we'll show that board to you after we get through these.
And yes, Grace, is there some place in Buncee where teachers can share ideas and templates? Absolutely. There's a ideas lab where a lot of us are, you know, like we have to submit it and then they approve it. There's templates that are already made. Even if you take that template, you can still make it your own. So you can adjust it and edit as you see fit.
And then the pros and the cons of this versus Google Slides.
I would say the number one thing that that students have told me, like when I introduced this, is because the clip art, the animation, like all of that is already built in there. Like everything that they would possibly need is already in Buncee, and you know that's our goal, to show you that part. But like this, and then what's cool too is that like Buncee loves taking student ideas. So students can also submit like drawings and pictures that they've like either taken with cameras or drawn themselves, and then submit those as like backgrounds. So Buncee is really cool with like working with the kids, but I just find like the number one thing is it's all in this one space, all the things that they would need to create, even the shapes and bringing in video and audio is all.
And I will say too, because that's a question we get often is how, how is it comparable to slides? And I'm a Google Slides user as well as the other two ladies here as well. But I feel more creative in Buncee, and I feel that I'm able to become more creative because of all of the different assets they have readily available at my fingertips, versus going and using Google Slides from, let's say, a blank template and having to think about my background and my images. I just feel it's easier for me to be creative in Buncee.
Yeah. Yes, it can be integrated in a Google Classroom. It can also be Microsoft Teams. It can go into Schoology. I know for a fact, this past year with being virtual, I was throwing Buncees in left and right, and the kids were able to click on it. It would open. There is a video on, there's a few videos out there through Buncee where you can app smash a lot of different ed tech tools. But Buncee integrates flawlessly. I use it in Wakelet a lot, back and forth. And then on Flipgrid, they also have the whole Buncee library too, I believe, now available. Is Buncee free? You get what, 3 a month, but then it's like a freemium where you can sign up by school, you can do individual, you can do a class. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, and they do, and I just responded to someone else who like privately asked me that. They do work with, like, let's say you want to bring this to your school and you're just not sure if this is something that you want to go further with in terms of like purchasing. Number one, they'll give like you and your school or even your entire district, depending on like what's going on. They have that conversation with you, but they give you access to everything for like a long period of time. And if you tell them, like they'll keep like checking in to see like, hey, how's it going? And then what are your teachers thinking? And they're always willing to help. Like, how can we come in? Like I had them come into my or visit virtually my school to then like demonstrate some things in addition to what I was demonstrating. But they'll give you like those free, and they'll keep extending it to you and your school and your district to try it out. And then they work with your school in terms of like pricing. So if you're in a situation where it's, you don't have access to a lot of money, like you have those conversations with them and they really do a phenomenal job of working with you. Or maybe you're the lone nut who's using it, they'll work with you as well. So they're really open to, because especially if like you see like how phenomenal it is, and the students are too, and the teachers or whatever that is, Marie and the team are they're amazing at just talking and having those conversations and really working with you to bring it to your school.
Okay, so math.
This Math in Me is an activity that I like to do with the teachers as well as with the students in the beginning of the year. So again, I can like set up this template, just have the boxes plain, and then share this out as a template. So I even have teachers in a class, but this was just a way to like get to know each other. So instead of saying like, tell me about yourself, then they're using math to demonstrate who they are. So this is just a like building community, getting to know each other. You can print these out, put them up, or what's nice, you see us using the Buncee board. That's where students would put all of them so they can see each other's. Someone did ask, like, will you be able to see students as they're working, or do you have to wait till they submit? You get to see as they're working on it. So you would go into that account, you'll like anytime the student does something, you'll see it, get a notification. You can go in and see even like where they are in the process. Even if you have a deadline, it'll show you, like it'll have a reminder for the kid, like this is due in like 2 days or whatever that is. So you will see them as they're like progressing on their Buncee. So this is one example of doing that with students.
And I know that they're in the process of working on collaboration. That's the next big step where you can all have access to collaborate within one Buncee, like Google Slides. You can do that too. This I did friend did a read-olution. And so again, it's another great way to promote reading, especially as a librarian. We each have our own specialties, and having Buncee ambassadors have those niches, like, was it Barbie Monty is big in 5th grade and she's got lots of great ideas. Amy and Leticia for all their different tech integrations, and then we move the library. You will find those people in the community. And if you're teaching, 4th grade history, there is somebody out there that will help you and give you ideas. And again, that ideas lab is where you want to find everything. So what I did was, somebody said, let's talk about your read-olutions. And it's like, I want the kids to see, this is what I intend to do. And I just designed it. I got my Bitmoji, downloaded it. The background was there. And then I just added the text. And it was like, this was my read-olution. Yeah, I made it to about 145 for 2020. And then read more fantasy and sci-fi, which is what I'm doing. So again, another great way to just promote what you are doing, either in your classroom or your library.
Here's one for acts of kindness. So in February, I always like to do this activity with students where they keep a journal for every day of February that we're in school. So I don't have them do it on the weekend. But go ahead and go to the next page, Deb. Sure. This acts of kindness really helps them. So I set up the directions. And so they're going to tell me each day how they did an act of kindness, right? How did they do it for others? What was their act of kindness for others, for themselves? Right. And then the last one is globally. So they would have to go and search global news to find an act of kindness that was elsewhere. And so you'll notice too, like, so they're bringing in their clip art, but then there's a couple of pages, if you keep going, like where the student like linked to somewhere else. So right there, she said like click paragraph to access link. So that way you could see the article that she read that demonstrated an act of kindness. So again, me just setting up like the first page and then the directions, sharing that with students, and then they just go ahead and each day they're keeping track of it. And I I can go in and see each day what, new journal page that they added, and have that conversation with them. But it was really just helping them to focus on the positive, not only for themselves, but something else that they saw from others. And then even how does that connect to global connections with acts of kindness.
And the thing that's really great is nowadays everybody's pushing for the digital portfolio, and having all of these and putting it in a board. So everything that Leticia students did for the year, at the end, they'll have their portfolio at the end of the year in a Buncee board. And the other thing that's really wonderful about it too is you can see the progression and how they started out like, I don't know what I'm doing on Buncee, to, wow, look at what they can now create. And it's like, ta-da, you can like, look at how proud I am of what I can now do. Where I'm sure back in September or August, this student had no idea how to do all these hyperlinks, but then here she is in February, hyperlinking to articles and adding all different kinds of things in there. So it's another great way to see the students' progress throughout the year.
Ms. Lopez asked, are there templates in Spanish? She'll be teaching their school's Their Great Deal program.
I believe there are.
Yeah, there are a lot of language teachers, and this, especially during this virtual time, globally, teachers started to submit things in different languages. So they're like the Ideas Lab.
And immersive readers built in too, so it can translate different languages as well.
Thank you for that, Amy. That's another thing. We have the immersive reader that's automatically there too. But yes, there are some lesson ideas and some templates that are in Spanish. I know French is huge. They've just added some new fonts that were connected to different languages and the needs from students and teachers that express that. So you can definitely check that out.
Here, I'm going to go back to this one. So when you're in where there's a lot of writing, right up here will be the immersive reader.
The 12th of February, 18.
Oh, that will just read.
Kindness for others
That's
today.
That's just audio.
Yeah.
Where is the I thought the immersive reader was in here. No?
It is in there.
You might have to open it, to open the actual Buncee.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. I think it should let me in.
It should.
Okay, then if we go to the slide.
I wonder if because this is an old.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, maybe from version 2.
Yeah.
1C2. Okay. Well, we can show you that when we get to other ones. Okay, so now this is where the virtual really came into play. I was able to, at the beginning of the year, I had started in a new school district and I wanted to catch the attention of the kids. And so in Schoology, our learning management program, I created a virtual library of what I was reading. And within each one, there's a link that will take the viewer to a book trailer, an author interview. And this link right here will pop them over to my Goodreads so kids can see what I'm reading. And then I threw my business card in there. And this background was already in the templates. I added in the desk, I added in the computer and the books. And that's just another way. I can't be there to physically hand the kid a book, but they can go and watch all the different trailers and information about the book.
Here's another example. You know, again, we're about to start school, and you can do this either, you know, in the building or virtually, depending on, you know, or hybrid, whatever space that you're going to operate for this upcoming school year. But this is another like way to meet me. We did this as an entire staff, and then this was a way to like introduce the kids and introduce the parents to our staff. But then we also do this with students. So what's really cool is like even where the name is, we would encourage students to like record their names. That way you could hear how to pronounce it. But it was just a quick way to share some about me tips, bring in a video that's your like favorite video that you like to listen to, include your picture, and then a quote that you really stuck. So you can like change this up to fit, you know, the needs.
Kids or adults. And I think that's a great way with new teachers. So they are like, I don't know who Mr. Smith is. They can go back to the Buncee board and see who this person is and learn a little bit about them. It's a great way to get to know your teachers. Okay. Is it you again?
Oh, me again. So this is something that I did this year because we were virtual. So, you know, like the virtual classrooms were like a huge thing, but I use this more for me. So that way when students came into my Zoom, I had this projected, it gave them the directions. I usually sent them to a Nearpod that we were going to work on for Dixit. I could include a timer. So that's one thing that I love about Buncee is that if you have a YouTube or Vimeo, there's a couple of like video links that you can add and you can have that there. So I would set up the timer for students, give them time to come into that space, complete that first activity before we dove into the rest of our lesson. But you'll notice like I, you know, personalize it to me. So I can include pictures of my family. There was an image that a student drew for me. So I added his image there. And some books that I was reading. And what's nice about this is that for students who were absent, then I can include that on our Google Classroom and they would see it. Now, someone had a question about whether or not students need to have a Buncee account. Yes, they do, but that's done through the teacher account. I believe you get like 50 student accounts. If you need more, you would talk to Buncee about that and they would work with you on how to do that. So yes, they definitely need, and it's all done by you. You can either set it up so that way you give them the passwords or they can use their Google accounts. Like you get.
But if you're, in case this is what her question was also asking, if you're sharing a Buncee link with a student that's clickable, like a hyperdoc, like Leticia was talking about, they could still click around on that Buncee, right? Without having to have a student account. Yeah.
Right. So if you have things like Deb had the virtual classroom where the books, so that way students can click on those books to read them, they can still access that part. They just won't be able to create. So, so like I create newsletters on here that I share with parents and with teachers. They can click all around on those things, but they can't create their own unless they have their own account.
Okay, and then Lindsay asked, do all of your assignments show up in the same Buncee board or you create separate boards for separate assignments? Well, you create the assignment in Classroom, and then it's a separate board that the students would submit to after.
Yeah, the Buncee board is, you create as many Buncee boards as you want, and you determine what's going to be on there. But initially, when you're setting up the assignment, it's in like the Buncee classroom that you're sending it to, and then you put them on the Buncee board for others to see. That's what the Buncee board was like a way, so that way students could see each other's creations. What platform do you use?
And yes, non-Buncee users, oh, sorry,
No, go ahead.
kind of slowed down, and I thought you were done. Yes, non-Buncee users can access what you send out. They just can't go and create. So I know I like a lot of things I've created, like the virtual library. If that was posted in a place where parents could see it without having to log in. And what platform do you use to share newsletter with parents?
So we, in our district, we have, oh my gosh, what is that called? Power Square, Parent Square, something like that. So if I'm creating like my newsletter on Buncee, then I just share that link out with them. If I'm sharing with my teachers, like I have a website where I house all my newsletters for them to access, because I actually use a different platform each month for teachers, just so that way they can see how to use that platform. But for parents, we have, I think it's called Parent Square, where we're sharing out newsletters, and I can just put the link there, and then parents can click on it, and it brings them to the Buncee to read. Yeah, there it is. We have 8 minutes. We have
I know, I'm trying to get to, oh, okay. That was you. This is me. Okay, so how you were asking about anybody can access this. This is the virtual calendar I started creating in April. And as new books came in, and it's right on the front of Destiny. You could also put it in Mac and Via if you're a librarian. And it would have links to the catalogs. And then it would have links to all different book trailers again. But then I also included, you know, that was the day of graduation, summer break starts, they're getting ready, Memorial Day. And the kids can now see all different kinds of things that about the books that have just gotten in. And then they can access the ebook for the summer, or the physical book they can check out over the winter and again, the summer, sorry, not the winter. And again, parents, if they're logging in, they can see this also, and they can click and see all the different book trailers and information. So you would get a blank one, and it's in the ideas lab, and you can just make a copy, and then you can add all the different things that you would like. Yes.
Amy, is she there? Is she
I'm here, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna go through mine real quick since I know we're almost out of time, but these are a couple of my favorites. So if you like to make Google site banners, or sites for Google Forms, or sites for one of our favorites, banners for one of our favorites, Wakelets, you can create custom Buncee creations in Buncee by changing the dimensions, and you can add these into different places like Google Sites, Google Forms, Wakelet. And so I created a Bitmoji scene using a specific dimension for my Wakelet profile. And so I loved making that. Everything you see there was in Buncee with the exception of my Bitmoji. But my favorite thing that I can't wait to share with you real quick is—
Hey, which one?
The last one.
This one?
Yep. So this is computer themed wallpaper. I am all about organizing my computer desktop, and you can find some really great ones like on places like TPT, but it costs you money. But if you have a Buncee account, you can create desktop backgrounds that you can organize all of your folders on. And so Deb, if you'll just go through that arrow, these are just some examples. I started with doing themes each month based on the month. So that was summer, there was Easter, Halloween, and then it slowly morphed into what my background looks like right now, which is coming. You can see I love it. But my background now changed into something a little different. So that was the first go round, and I put my folders in those different sections. That is an actual Bitmoji that, not a Bitmoji, that's an avatar that Buncee created for myself. And then I think it's, yeah, that's an example of what it looks like, what it used to look like on my MacBook. I don't think there's anything else after that one.
Blank.
A blank, I don't know what that is from. anyways, like I said, I'm an adult learner using Buncee, and so I was always looking for ways to use it, and this was one way as a desktop background.
Yeah,
We
that
have like 5 minutes left. Do we want to show them like the ideas lab?
yes. I've actually got the board up. I didn't even get to show them the interactive poem one I made. Oh, well. So when you log in, this is what your dashboard looks like. Sorry, it's like a hot mess because I've got like all my different Buncees. And then up here in the upper right-hand corner, you would create from here, always chose version 3, version 2 is going away. This is the ideas lab. So if you were let's see, all the different topics here. So someone was asking about language learning. There should be some in Spanish in here somewhere. I thought it might be down here, but you can also search too. But these are all ones, and you can see here who it was created by. So if you are a teacher and you submit, you get the credit for it. I want to see if I search for Spanish in here. Let's see, why is this doing this to me? And then you can also search by grade level. Here we go, Spanish. Wow, I can't spell today, sorry. I be an English teacher someday ago. So practice learning language, there's the emotional, is that French? I don't even know. But they have all these different ones already made for you. Let's see if you can see this. And then when you open it up, you would hit the create and it would automatically make a copy for you.
And only the teachers have access to the ideas lab, not students.
So that's just one example. And again, you can either search for it that way or just, I want to go by the topic area and I want to make, oh, let's see, we'll do math.
Do you have your classroom set up, Deb? Like, do you have kids?
Yes, I do have a classroom set up. Classes, library aids. So the thing that's really neat is some of these kids, once they start using this and you go back in, one of them was creating just a graphic for me. And then she went and she made more. Like this is actually a librarian. So she wanted to try it out. So I added her as a student. But you can see all the different ones the kids had made. So when it drops down, these are all the different graphics they made. And then you can click in and it will go to that actual Buncee so you can see how far the student has gotten into it. And this was actually Karina Q, the librarian. She did this Buncee book bento. And so this is one of my library aides from this past year, did one to promote for North Texas Teen Book Festival and did it over the Poet-X. And her voice is recorded, but I wish there was something typed so you can see the immersive reader, but there isn't.
And then you can grade. So that's the other thing too. When you click on it, then, well, no, not that way.
Which right down here, back in here.
Maybe under assignments. Keep going to the top.
I don't have any assignments though.
Oh, you don't have any assignments?
No.
Okay. When you have assignments, it like shows you the assignment, and then you click on it and you see all the students. Or here, you want me to share my screen real quick?
Yes, that would be great. Oops, let me get out of this.
Here we go. So when I'm here, oh no, we have 1 minute. Of course it would go slow now. There we go. So when I'm here and I go into the classroom and I click on assignments, you'll see the assignments that I've set up. And then it tells me still not coming through. It tells me the submission, the same 0 right now. That's not true though. But it'll tell you, like, it'll show you all of the assignments that are there, all your students. It'll show you which ones you've graded, which ones you've not graded. what's nice is that say if the student submits, it's at 0, but when it shows you that a student submitted, you can see it. And then if you feel like, hey, you were missing a couple of things, you have a space where you can go ahead and type that in and then send it back to the student. So that way they can like make the necessary corrections. So yeah, we're at time, so I don't want to leave.
But we're glad you all came today. We hope you're enjoying the conference or the beginning of the conference. And you can reach out to any of us on social media at City Coach. Amy is Tech Amy, right?
Tech Amy, yes.
And then I'm just Deb Zeman, LMS.
That's a good question, Kelly. Ileana would know that. Ileana, they're asking where can they find the recording to review it. And we'll actually put the link for the Buncee board in the scan so that way you'll have access to it there as well.
Yeah.
So thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
For the rest of your conference.
Yes, thank you. Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye. Be safe.
Will.
Have fun. Yeah. Safe flight home.